what's going on? Thanks so much for joining me here on session 91 of the Dealer Playbook podcast. I am really looking forward to bringing you this episode. I was fortunate enough to get 15 minutes with the man, Mr. Gary Vaynerchuk. I know a lot of you since episode 10, when he was originally on the Dealer Playbook, have been asking, when is he going to be back? Well, today is the day. I reached out to a bunch of you on social media and I asked, if you had 15 minutes alone with Gary Vaynerchuk and could only have one question answered, what would it be? Well, today, some of your questions are featured on this show and you get the answers. Now, I specifically want you to stay tuned for the last question that I ask him in what he would do if he was a car sales professional. I think you're really gonna enjoy the answer. And you know what? Let's just dig right in and dive into my sit down with Gary Vaynerchuk. Here we go. All right, here we go. Gary Vaynerchuk, or should I say Vaynerchuk, joining me now on the Dealer Playbook. Gary, thanks so much for joining me, brother.
Thanks for having me, man.
All right, so I just want to dive in here. Congrats on the success of your book launch, Ask Gary Vee, which those of you listening in should definitely stay tuned for because we're giving out some copies of that book. Let me ask you something. What was your motivation in putting out this content?
I'm trying to figure out how to leave a legacy around a skill set that I have that equally provides enormous amounts of value to individuals that decide to follow me and scratches the vanity, bones in my body, right?
Yeah. So
books are great, because they're inexpensive. They're on the record officially. They find them, they book sitting behind you could end up at a garage sale one day in 7 years and read by some, travel. They still, in their traditional sense, whether on a Kindle or in book form, print, they're your kind of official point of view of that moment. And so I want to be known as one of the great businessmen of this generation. And more importantly, I want to continue to get emails from people every single day, 10 times a day, that say, I read this and this amazing thing happened in my life. You know how many Skype, podcast, YouTube shows were created because of a book I wrote Crush It years ago? I'm creating legacy. And so I feel like I have something to say. Luckily for me, other people agree. It's a lot more fun to sell 100,000 books in the first week than 100.
Sure.
And I want to be historically correct, and a good way to do that is to put things on paper. This specific book and the 4 business books that I've written is a real state of the union of me in complete form as a businessman, right? This was not only just social media advice, this was management advice and leadership advice and had a lot of, work-life balance and family and media. So it was a really good opportunity for me to do a complete brain dump of me in this current state.
Yeah, I was going to say, we digging into the pages of the book, and admittedly I'm not done because I've reviewed sections like 3 or 4 times. We get to see this human side of you that people go, oh yeah, he's superhuman is basically what it comes out to. I know a lot of people listening in are wondering, okay, how much of that happened organically as you kind of went along your journey, or did you start out saying, you know what, I'm setting out to produce all this content, all this information to hone my craft because I want to leave a legacy? So in other words, you had the objective in mind.
It depends on where one starts that question and how much do they know about me. So when I started in my dad's liquor store, I just wanted to be the best wine store in the country. And I knew I wanted to buy the jets. And back then I probably thought that I was going to buy the jets by opening up 4,000 wine stores, right?
Sure.
I knew that I was going to be a great businessman in my teenage years, or at least I knew that that's what I wanted to try to do. And so, when I started the YouTube show, Wine Library TV, 10 years ago, I knew that that was a good idea. I knew that was the right strategy. Somewhere around 2008 or 9 or 7, 2 or 3 years in, I'm like, wait a minute, all these videos are going to last here forever. That's cool, so that was interesting, right?
Yeah.
They're going to be around forever. And maybe I should start taking this a little more seriously. I knew that they would be around forever, but I started realizing a lot of the things that I was saying were becoming true. And I'm like, wait a minute, I've got a gift. I'm good at this. I'm good at knowing where the world's going. It's fun for me to look at, it's fun for me to look at videos right now from 2013 where I'm yelling at the audience saying you're going to be on Snapchat, but you don't realize it, right?
Yeah, yeah.
It's cool. And so I started getting really serious about the content probably 2 years ago when I started the Ask Gary Vee show, and then Daily Vee a year ago, and all the content I'm pumping out. But I've been on the mental kick for about 5.
Yeah, fair enough. I know this is a question you probably get a lot, and I know the answer in my own entrepreneurial journey, but I know there's a lot of people wondering, how often have you waited for the perfect conditions to execute, to do, to move, to act?
Never.
Yeah, see. And it's funny. I was watching your last Daily Vee. Well, it was the one where you were at Propeller.
Okay.
And this woman walks up to your window. You're sitting in the car ready to roll, and she's like, "Hey, I need 3 words of motivation." And you're just like, 3 words? You're gonna die.
Yes, it was an interesting moment.
And I was like, you know what? That's perfect. And the way I see that is, kind of took her off guard. She was like, holy crap, did I just blow this moment with Gary Vee? Like, she's walking down the street either like so like grateful for how profound that is, or like, why did I ask him such a, but anyways, I thought it was hilarious. And you can see that kind of flow through, your mindset of leaving a legacy. You understand that, hey, as a human being, I have a certain amount of time here on planet Earth to do stuff with. What I appreciate is how you're bringing us into how you hack together life, family time, work time. I recently had Grant Cardone on the show, and the topic there was, the fact that he's not just obsessed with career, he's obsessed with all of the facets of his life, and in so doing, that kind of creates some balance. What's your take on that?
I do think about legacy. I also think that I'm painting pictures when people aren't watching. For example, there was no Snapchat content from me this weekend, and so no Daily Vee, no Ask Gary Vee. I was with the family, right? Like, and I think I'm very self-aware to how this plays out. I also think I've got something, and I think it's really cool that I'm lucky. And I really, honestly, it's equally about me as it is about my audience, and I think people feel that. I think what separated me from a lot of people is, yes, I want all my stuff, but I don't want it at your expense. I want it for you too. You're more than welcome to do it too. I'm going to give you away all my stuff. I don't have, like many of my contemporaries, a $5, $10, $15, $50,000 thing that's going to show you how to do it like me. My stuff is free. Yeah. Like, all of it's free. Michael, all of it's free.
I know. I partake.
I don't have a way to monetize you, whereas I think a lot of people that aren't me do. And I think that separates me.
When did you make that connection to, hey, convey so much value that A, nobody can deny you, and B, in some way, shape, or form, it's going to turn into a monetary gain?
I don't need it to turn into a monetary gain because I was able to make monetary gains before I was Gary Vee. I'm very different than a lot of other business people. I've built businesses prior to having fame and trying to deploy it against a monetizable event. So it happened years ago when I built things with the right intent. I'm very, very different than the other business leaders because I'm the only one who doesn't have a way to monetize my fan base directly. I sell a book once every 2-3 years for $18. And other than that, Michael, you have a really difficult time giving me any money.
Yeah.
And I think that's good for me. And I think it's helped me. And I think the smarter you are, the less tricked you can be, the more you like me. And I think the more that you want stuff easy and you think there's a system or a program or an ebook that's going to get you there, the more you don't realize how valuable I am by comparison. And I mean that.
Yeah. No, it totally makes sense. If you had to start all over, right?
Yes.
VaynerMedia is gone, Wine Library is gone, all these sorts of things, and you had to build your brand because you know the effectiveness of the credibility and all that sort of stuff that comes from it. What would be your first moves?
My first moves would be to build a business for 10 years and not say a goddamn word.
All right. So for the, the frontline salesperson who's working at a car dealership or something like that, who see Gary Vee, they get motivated by the brand, the persona, and they're trying to be you today. You're saying to them, just lay a foundation and
I'm saying for me, as somebody who really enjoys to give business advice, it'd probably be better to actually build a business that has nothing to do with building a business about giving business advice as my first move, because it allows me in any debate with all the other gurus and personalities. And this is how I always think, like, what would happen in a debate, an open debate with everybody who's a personality? I'm going to win because I'm going to be able to say my stuff. I was able to make money without making money on people giving me money to learn how to make money.
Sure.
And I think that's a big deal. Now, if somebody else is a car dealer or is coming up or is a 22-year-old me who wasn't as patient and wants to go about it a different way, I would say don't give advice because you've never done it. Don't give people advice on how to be a life coach or a business leader at 22. Why don't you talk about your journey of trying to become something, because that's your truth. Why don't you talk about what 20-year-olds care about in the world? Because that's your truth. But the amount of guys and girls running around trying to be business coaches and business advice givers who never build a business other than selling people on the advice of making money is not acceptable to me. And I know you follow my content enough to know that that is a visceral, I'm super anti that.
Yeah. And I can sense the heat coming through the computer right now. No, I'm just kidding.
It's heat. I'm curious why so many people that are listening to your show right now have not asked people that they give money to be their guru or coach or consultant. What have you done that justifies me giving that, other than being charismatic and putting up Instagram quotes of entrepreneurial inspiration?
Yeah. It's like, no, you need to know who to listen to, essentially. It's people who walk the walk.
I'm a big fan of that. And as you know, Michael, and you know this is true, there's a lot of people that are that have not followed my belief system on that. There's a lot of characters that people follow running around that don't follow that model, and they only sell advice or courses. And I'm curious to why that's going on when there's alternatives, but it is what it is.
Okay, last question, because I know you got to hop off. You're a busy man. I've got a lot of car salespeople specifically listening to the show, watching the show. If you were in their shoes, how would you be leveraging your social, like Snapchat and Facebook and all those sorts of things? I mean, the preface to this is, so many people have this negative thought process when it comes to working with car dealerships, car dealers. Where would you go if you said, hey, I'm going to work the front lines? What kind of content would you be putting out? What kind of picture would you be trying to paint for people, and what means would you use to distribute?
I would go very local. So if you're Rick or you're Sally and you're a car salesman in a local area, I would go very local. I would try to become the mayor of Tulsa, Oklahoma. Like become the mayor of your town. Give your 2 cents on the sub shop. Give your 2 cents on the school system. Become the mayor. Once you become the most famous local celebrity, well, then everybody's going to buy their car from you. So I know that's a wild strategy, but there's a reason that I've been successful. I think about the world differently. I'm not putting up pictures of my car. There's a million pictures of those cars. But if you go and interview the principal and put that on Instagram or Facebook, if you go and talk about, like, this pothole pisses me off in town. Do you know how viral any car salesman that takes a picture of the pothole that pisses everybody off, or the bad turn in town, or the inside joke for everybody in town, they will get everybody's business. And I see you responding. This is smart.
Yeah.
Become the social media mayor of your town, and you will sell every car in town.
Love it. Gary, man, thanks so much for being on the show. I appreciate your time.
Stay well.
Right, have a good one. Bye.
Bye-bye. Stay well.
All right, there you go. That was Gary Vaynerchuk here on the Dealer Playbook podcast. I hope you enjoyed, some of the big takeaways for me. Become the mayor of your community socially. Be where your customers are. Just last night, in fact, I was chatting briefly with a colleague of mine in South Africa, and he just said, look, man, times are tough, the economy's down, what are some things that I could be doing? And I just, I guess I kind of like data dumped on the guy, and I just said, look, here's what I would be doing. And I took some snippets from the show. Become the mayor of your community locally. Get so involved that when people think about purchasing a vehicle or trading in a vehicle or financing, whatever it might be, they think of you. You heard Gary Vaynerchuk say, like, take some of the community inside jokes. Maybe it's that pothole on 27th Street that everyone complains about. Draw attention to it, talk about it, get the community involved. Now, the trick to this, and I guess my last takeaway is, what you didn't hear Gary say is that he would talk about buying cars. Like, come on guys, you're a car dealer. Everybody knows what you do. Everybody knows that if they want to buy a car, there's two places to do it. From some dude who's posted on Craigslist or Kijiji or something like that, or eBay Autos or whatever, or there's the car dealership. So it's not like you have to sit there on social media constantly like validating what you do as a car dealership. We know what you do. You sell cars. So to go around the other way and just become a reliable source of information, to be the one who rallies the community and starts conversations online about the things that people care about, you're gonna get that much further ahead. You're gonna have that much more mind share. And in so doing, like Gary says, you become the mayor of your community online. I hope you found value in this. If you did, click like, share, subscribe. I would love to be connected with you here. And as always, man, leave a comment. If you have questions for Gary, I'm gonna do everything in my power to make sure that Gary comes in, checks the comments, and replies to any questions or feedback that you have. Until next time, guys, keep the playbook open and dominate.